Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome on your TV sets there in Texas and Louisiana. You're watching on the Smart Money Culture TV network. We have a great show lined up today. Of course, we'll have Matt Dixon, the great Matt Dixon, join us, talk about the markets. We also have some wonderful interviews from the consensus conference that we just got back from. What a great conference that was. Still have even more people that we weren't able to get on the interview that will be joining here over the next few weeks. So there's a lot going on, a bit of a market recoil. It's kind of funny because as much as you have to you look at these markets, right? And one thing we always say is yes, should do this. Now, timing is always a little bit tricky, right? The timing can be tricky, especially when you have things going on like war in the Middle East and war in Europe, and those things can affect it as well. And when you have players relative term, when you have countries and people that are as involved in these financial markets as the ones that are involved in these two wars, then it's almost like predictable. Like I looked at it yesterday, and even though the markets or the charts are saying, yeah, everything's fine, and we did say, outside forces can influence it. I just thought, it's probably going to pull back. There's just a lot of news going on now. Historically, as we talked about yesterday, war, it's not like it's really bad for the markets per se. Unfortunately, war is one of those things that it can be very good for the market, or good enough for the market. People are there's lots of manufacturing that goes on during wars. There's lots of building and stuff like that. So that it's not a given that that's how it's going to go, but it can definitely affect it. And it's psychological. It's a big psychological effect, that's for sure. And when you have a big pump like we did yesterday, a couple of this, little of this, little of that, and pull back. It'll be interesting to see what Matt has to say about all that. But certainly watching it happen was a little bit tricky. BNB, one of the big ones there, really looking nice. I did exit BNB as it pumped yesterday. Just thought it was time to take some profits. So I did. So far, that was a pretty good move. I do expect it to keep going higher. War will help leaders, not humanity. I am with you, brother. I am with you 100%. We are a peace-loving show. I want war. I want peace for everybody. I want to stop the killing. And that's really the long and short of it. That's our message that we give out to the world. We'd like to stop the killing. Sooner or later, everybody is going to need to come to the bargaining table and talk to each other. The sooner that we get people to that table, the better off we are, and the more lives that we can save. A lot of focus is on the Middle East, but there's 500,000 or more from what I see dead over in Europe as well, and it's just a horrible thing. It is really a horrible thing. So we are a peace show. We want peace. We want people to be prosperous and have families. That's what I talked about it on stage. We had our Washington Elite Gala. I talked about it. I talk about it all over the world, that as human beings, we all want the same three things, right? We want to be safe. We want a family. We want prosperity. We want a family, and we want safety for the family, right? And for our future generations. And that's universal. It doesn't matter where you are. It looks like you might be in India. You can be over in India or in the U.S. or in the Middle East somewhere, or Russia or anywhere. We all pretty much want that, and that's what brings us together as human beings. And that's what we have to focus on. One of the great things about crypto has been that I've been able to travel around the world a few times, and that has been absolutely wonderful. And I've gotten to meet a lot of people over the years and realized that everybody really wanted those three things. And as well as crypto guys, now I know everybody watching isn't crypto people, but of course we're crypto guys. Crypto guys, we all believe in other three things. We believe in freedom, we believe in ownership, and we believe in privacy. And wherever you go in the world, you can find some crypto guys, and you can have a beer somewhere or do whatever and sit there, and you can look across from each other and know pretty much universally that that's what we all agree on. And so as a group, what we need to do is start voting together and working together as a group in order to influence the policies of the countries that we're in. Because we all want those three things. We know those three are important: privacy, ownership, and what was it? Privacy, ownership. I always do this sometimes, especially when I'm on live stream. Privacy, ownership, and what was the third one I just said? Freedom. Privacy, ownership, and freedom. And that's what brings us together, and that's how we work together. That's how we work together. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Doesn't matter. I would say that it doesn't hardly matter who you vote for anyway, because whoever gets in, I'm here in Washington, D.C., and it doesn't change much. It doesn't change much. Might change a little bit, but it doesn't change much. So at the Ethereum leading the downward trend, as well as silver down over 2%. Oil, big mover down here. Wish I'd opened up a big short. I wish I'd opened up a big short. Who saw that coming as we were moving into the summer? I guess we talked about it, actually. That indicates the slowing of the economy. Not a real good sign. Of course, you had Biden opened up the strategic petroleum reserves and pulled some oil out of there. I don't think that had much of a play on anything, though, to be honest. These are worldwide things. But oil down near $70 a barrel. That can keep coming down, though, as far as I'm concerned. The military-industrial complex, which we talked a little bit about that over the months. Of course, we talked about the central bank. The military-industrial complex is just booming. It is really booming. You look at what the amount of arms that we send, that the U.S. sends, and the different places send over into these war areas, and it's crazy. But that is, if you're looking for a profitable business, that is a profitable business to be in. The military arms sales, especially right now. As much as I want these wars to end, it doesn't seem like they're not going to end anytime soon, unfortunately. I mean, I hope they do, but we'll see. So that military-industrial complex, that is really, that has a lot to do with a lot of the policies and everything that we see coming out. It is a very, very strong part of the U.S. economy for sure, but starting to be even worldwide. Let's see here, Mexico. Wow, big move on Mexico. Mexico, their currency went down like 10% yesterday. So they elected a new president. And it's like no one's talking about it here in the U.S., but I think they did it on the magic electronic voting machines, and they got somebody that most of the citizens are like, we don't want this person, and so they announced that she was the new president, and the markets took a big dive, so they led Mexico. It's not hard. That's what people don't really understand, is it's not hard. I saw what happened here. I've been around for a long time now, and it's not really hard to overthrow a country that way, by just a little bit of changes in the ballot box, right? A little bit of change here, a little bit of change there, and you're able to put somebody in power that you want. And so, whether it's the CIA or whatever external forces want to put somebody in power, it's not hard. It's pretty well documented. The U.S. has been doing that for years. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There has really been I don't watch the news, but I haven't heard much about it. Even just, I'll usually hear rumblings if it's in the news, and I haven't. But that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Of course, the U.S., that southern border with Mexico, we have, millions and millions of people that have come in this country over the last little bit. So yeah, we'll see. I'm going to bring on Matt here in just a minute, but I also wanted to mention that the Washington Elite Gala in New York during the UN General Assembly already. I'm getting a lot of people signing up. People are pretty excited about it. That New York City Gala that we throw, the Washington Elite Gala in New York, is something else. That is historically our biggest and most fun and attended gala. So really looking forward to that. Right now, that's on the 26th of September. I'm getting some rumblings back and forth on other days that people want. So we'll see what happens. Let's bring on the great Matt Dixon. Let's talk about the markets.
Good morning, Bruce.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good to be here.
Nice shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, had meetings this morning, so I've got to be a little bit, make an effort. Anyway, this news is news. So just looking at the spot Bitcoin ETF, just how much has flowed into it. So we've got $59 billion has come into Bitcoin ETF since going live back in January. So that's pretty good addition, $59 billion. So we'll look a bit closer into the Bitcoin chart. We've got the Ethereum ETF. I think there's 6 ETFs been approved. Obviously, that's minus staking because they won't allow staking because it would be classed potentially as a security. So, I mean, you can have securities in ETFs, but not for this particular ETF. So that's why that was done, to ease the way there. And it would cause problems for Ethereum if it's classed as a security to be on exchanges, I think. So this is why there's all these movements and, you know, the way they're structuring it. But it should be a positive for Ethereum. I don't think it'll be the same sort of thing as we've had with Bitcoin. I don't think it'll have quite such a positive impact on the market. But even so, it's a good step forward. It's a very solid step in terms of sort of legitimizing cryptocurrency in general. So there's something else in terms of legitimacy. We had I think it was overnight basically, the House passed the digital asset market structure legislation, FIT 21, you may have heard about it. It's basically financial innovation and technology for the 21st century. And it's actually quite positive. It's showing, you know, the states have been left behind a little bit with the regulatory frameworks and everything, trying to categorize cryptocurrencies. And they're putting forward 3 categories. So there's a restricted digital asset subject to SEC jurisdiction. There'll be a digital commodity, and that's subject to CFTC jurisdiction. And then there's a permitted payment stablecoin, and that's subject to SEC or CFTC. So depending on the nature of the intermediary involved in a transaction. So that's actually a really good step forward.
It is.
Yeah. So, there's a bit of a concern that the states were getting left behind and people were migrating, particularly cryptos, which is a very, cutting edge technology. The states, obviously, America don't want it leaving the country, going elsewhere, because it is the future. So the fact they're now getting on board and passing legislation is obviously a very good thing. So we will just jump in. Let me just jump in and share my screen because there have been some really interesting moves on the market. We also had some more stuff from the guy, what's his name? Keith from GameStop, that guy, Keith Gill, isn't it? Roaring Kitty. Yeah. You know him as Roaring Kitty. So he's been in the news again. Let me just share and we'll look. So there's been some big movements going on. I think I'll probably do that one first. Let me get into my sharing screen. Hopefully you can see that.
I can. Here we go. Yes.
Yeah, so we'll start off with GameStop. And this is basically what I call a meme stock. So we can see the massive moves there. So I'll just show you the movement from top to bottom. We can actually see the magnitude of the movement. So I'll just measure from the top of the market there, which is only a very, very recent move. Where are we now? Okay, it's actually down here somewhere now, the price. I'm not sure what's happened there. The price is actually lower than that, unless we've had some recent massive pump in the market. Anyway, not to worry, you can see the massive movement there. So this guy, Keith Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty, has been involved again. I think buying and selling options in GameStop. So effectively cashing in on price movements, these aggressive price movements. We saw a massive move up. We saw about some massive movement down anyway. And we're seeing gaps in the market where you basically get suspension of trading because of the big moves. This is probably not good. I wouldn't want to get involved in this because this guy is a seasoned trader. He used to work on Wall Street. He knows what he's doing. He's effectively, as far as I can see, allegedly, he's manipulating prices for his benefit. He's causing these pumps and these dumps and making money even on the dumps.
He's up like $86 million in unrealized gains.
Yeah. And this is basically money coming out of somebody's pocket. It's not a particularly liquid stock. I mean, obviously there is a lot of price movement, but with all these gaps and so on. So this just shows the danger of getting involved in memes. And then the other big meme that we've got, crypto meme here, we can see Genacoin down 25% today alone. So again, massive movement. And this one, again, we can look at the actual movement here. Measure. This one is 86% from top to bottom there. Yeah, 86%. So actually, if you think about it, if you'd be one of the unlucky persons getting in at the top, you'd need to get 11x your investment to get back up to break even, let alone making profit. So that's an impossibility right now. So again, just shows the danger. And on a financial show like this, we're here to alert you to the opportunities, but also to the dangers and the risks. And there's big risks involved when you get involved with these meme coins. But then moving over to some of the more solid and now regulated cryptocurrencies. I looked yesterday, actually, and I meant to look on the shorter term, but I looked yesterday at the long-ish term I mentioned and said we had 3 waves down and we're moving up here. It could be 5 waves still, so we could potentially have wave 1, 2, 3, working on wave 4 and wave 5 to the upside. So potentially that's really positive. Or it could be 3 waves down, some kind of 3 waves up, and then we get a further movement down. But either way, because this was corrective down to here, we are likely to have, at some point in the near future, a move to new all-time highs. That hasn't happened as yet. But what I neglected to show yesterday was the shorter-term view. But what this is telling me is there's some good upside to be had. Maybe not immediately, but if you're not leveraged, it's good. But if we just move back to the 4-hour chart, this is what looks like a textbook triangle. And a triangle is a kind of wave that only occurs in either wave 4 or wave B positions. Now in Elliott wave, just to go a little bit back to basics, Elliott wave, when you're moving in the trend, so say for example, if the market is moving upwards and the trend is upwards, then with the trend, an impulsive move is in 5 waves. And we've gone through all sorts of counts before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 1 would be up, wave 2 down, 3 up, 4 down, and 5 up. That would be an impulsive wave. And then against the trend is normally in 3 waves or some kind of combination of 3 waves. So we will have a little look at this potential triangle here. The reason I love triangles is when you're trading using Elliott wave tells you the overall market structure. And if you can know where you're at within the particular wave structure, you can really set your risk reward quite tightly and go for some big gains, especially wave 3 and even wave 5 in crypto is often extended. So if you can identify where a wave 4 might be. Now bear in mind, a triangle cannot be in a wave 2 position. It can only be in wave 4 or wave B position. So we've got here potentially wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and it would be wave 4. Or we've potentially got some kind of A wave up and we're working on a B wave. So it's a correction. So being a correction, it tells you we've got higher to go. And that's why I've got this arrow here. When it's complete, we expect higher. So massive clues there that there is still higher to come, to new all-time highs for Bitcoin. So that is a great thing to know, that in the not too distant future, within this wave cycle, this particular cycle degree that we're looking at, there's going to be a new all-time high. So you can be reasonably confident, and I would say probably well over 90% confidence in structure your risk reward, knowing 90% you'll be correct in terms of it's probably more than 90%, to be honest. You could be way more than that, but it's very, very strong possibility. If this is a triangle, it's what's called a continuation pattern. You will break to new highs. But let's just look at the internal look of a triangle. So I had this labeled as a triangle as it was developing, even yesterday, when price had moved up rapidly here. Now there's a dotted line here. Wave D would not be allowed to cross over the end of wave B. That's why I had this dotted line. So that was telling me that if price were to cross there, my triangle interpretation is wrong. And so if I had a trade on, again, I can structure my risk reward knowing I've just broken the rules of this triangle, but it didn't. It stopped short as it should do, and we still have a potential triangle. Now a triangle is made up of an A, B, C, D, E wave. And then following the E wave, it's called, the triangle itself is called a pre-terminal wave. So it's before the final wave in the cycle. And the final wave is what's called the thrust from the triangle. That's this movement here. And that's called the terminal wave. And it's the terminal wave of this particular cycle. Once the terminal wave is complete, you then expect a reversal, and probably substantial reversal to the downside. And so once again, we'll be able to structure risk reward. We would expect to see 5 waves up in this final terminal wave, and then we can look for a substantial move down. So again, you can get an idea of which way the market's going overall. Now these A, B, C, D, E within the triangle are themselves made up of 3 waves. Each one is 3 waves. So A, B, C makes up A, B, C makes up B, A, B, C makes up C, A, B, C makes up D, and the same is for wave E. The wave E itself can potentially form another triangle within a triangle, but that's getting a little bit complicated. But anyway, so far within this triangle, we've got 3 waves down, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, and expecting probably 3 down to finish this move. And even within these 3 wave movements, there are Fibonacci relationships. So I'll just show you one I measured here. The movement yesterday from the bottom here, C, to top of this wave here. I measured it as 100%. I then just transposed that to this correction down here. And it actually gave me the very top of wave D. So again, quite amazing from here, from this pullback here. And I was expecting it to be in 3 waves. So from this pullback here, I put my fib measuring tool, measured from here to here, transposed to here, and it gave me the exact top to within $1 or so of Bitcoin before the reversal yesterday. And we can see a spike high there and then reversal. So once again, you could have potentially shorted, protected just above this dotted line here, which was the invalidation of the triangle. And you can then, you'd already have locked in substantial profit. You could now move your stop loss to a guaranteed profit, even if it's $5 profit, you're guaranteed no matter what happens in the market, and it's pushing down. Your take profit would be somewhere getting lower towards the bottom of this triangle. Then you potentially take profit and maybe look to go long with a stop loss somewhere below here. So these are the tricks of the trade, tricks of trading, to be on the right side of the trade all the time, whether it be long, whether it be short, and to identify waves within particular cycles. So that's a bit of a closer look at Elliott Wave within the Bitcoin movement. So again, it's been really, really good. So I actually exited Bitcoin on the way up here, and I'm not going to re-enter until if it does drop down to here. And there's no guarantees, but if it drops towards the bottom of the triangle, I will look to be taking a long position with a stop loss nearby. Wave E is the only wave that can undershoot or overshoot within the triangle trend lines. So I'll be placing my trade, bearing in mind it can over or undershoot this particular bottom trend line here, the support line of the triangle. So we'll bear that in mind if the price moves down and I take the trade. I say if because nobody knows for certain any price movement. And I've heard people commenting on my X feed on Twitter saying, oh, it's obvious that so-and-so, obvious this is the wave count, obvious this is what's going to happen. There's no such thing as obvious in trading, I'm afraid. There are no certainties. There are only probabilities.
And so there's so much going on. There's so many external factors where it may do one thing, but, we've all seen it. things change in a second.
Absolutely. I mean, you saw it with that's actually what you're mentioning about was it the Mexican president you were mentioning a few minutes ago? Yeah.
Yes.
So that was quite, so Mexico were very anti-Israel, and I understand that she's actually an Israeli person who's become president.
Yeah.
So a complete turnaround, in the stance there, and it's just amazing how these things. But it's also amazing, we've said many times before, that the charts often tell you in advance that something weird is going to happen, that something strange is going to happen, because the charts are telling you that the price is going somewhere. You don't know the reason why, and then some news comes out and validates your chart pattern. You say, well, that's why the chart was telling you the price is going here. But it's impossible to know what news was going to come out to actually cause that to happen. So it is mind-boggling to think about, how these charts are so predictive. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. So that's a reasonably close look at Bitcoin. I'm bullish longer term on Bitcoin. I'm looking for opportunities to add to my bag to dollar cost average. I'll never put everything in one go, because there are no certainties, as I've said. There are just probabilities. So great opportunities though, and the more and more that like the Fit 21 legislation, and the more and more this becomes institutionalized in terms of institutional adoption, and we've got the retail fully behind it as well, and we've got the issues that are still brewing behind the scenes with fiat, with the US dollar, etc. So let's just jump across to the US dollar, which actually fell quite sharply. We're having a bit of a rise, pulling back up a little bit today, but fell very, very sharply, right down to the 104 area on dollar index yesterday. And that we had this line down. It may even continue to go further, but we were expecting the move down on US dollar because we had some kind of ABC movement up, which is corrective. So we did expect a movement down. But to be fair, this also looks corrective down so far. So it could be just part of a larger expanded flat correction. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get some movement up again before we move down again. But it was just surprising to see the amount of dollar weakness. We expected it, but again, the chart was telling us it was going to happen, but it happened for whatever reason. It may be a softening of the economy. So we're seeing dollar weaken because of that, particularly the US economy. That could be what's behind the weakness in oil, as Bruce mentioned. We're seeing some substantial weakness. But again, we say weakness, but it's retested this support line. So far, this support is really, really robust. It dates back to right back here. The support started to be reasonably strong back in March. And if I go onto the daily, the reason I'm going onto the daily is just to show you that there hasn't been a daily close since last March. There hasn't been a daily close below this dotted line. So this dotted line here, perhaps should be just a fraction higher there. There hasn't been a daily close. So that is the support there where price spiked down, touched and reversed higher. So there were buyers in the market there. That's what caused the price to reverse higher. And again, every time it's tried to spike below, there's buyers in the market. So there's some solid support for some reason. Not quite sure what it is, whether it's technical, fundamental, whatever it might be. Some people have basically got buy orders under this level. So whenever it dips below, people are buying. So that itself is a good area for risk reward. There's solid support there. So you can, if it dips below, you can put a buy order in with a stop loss, obviously somewhere below, to limit any potential losses. Because again, there are no guarantees it will bounce higher. It's just historically it keeps bouncing higher. There really is support there. So eventually, the support could break. But at the moment, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests of support, 6, I think, including this, 6 tests, and it hasn't managed to have a daily close below it. So that for me is a great opportunity. So potentially we might see a bit of a rebound higher in oil. I'd be surprised to see it break through below, but if it does, that'll be a major change. If we break below, that would then change from support, and if we had a daily close below it, it would then become overhead resistance. So what was difficult to break to the downside, if we do break below and stay below with the daily close, then it would be overhead resistance to the upside. So what was support actually flips to resistance once price goes through. Again, these are very, very important things to help you stay on the right side of the trade, whether that be long or short. So good little tricks of the trade to know there. We obviously had a bit of a sell-off yesterday on S&P and the Dow, quite a bit of a sell-off. And again, it may be that the ABC is complete here, or we may have a bit of a more complex correction before we push higher. But again, because it's corrective in the form of ABC, I don't doubt, and this movement up, by the way, overlaps that movement down. So it can't be 1, 2, 3. It has to be ABC, because if it's 1, 2, 3, price would not be allowed to overlap this wave here, this wave down here, and it has overlapped. It's gone above it. So because it's ABC down, it basically means it's corrective. It's telling us there's new all-time highs to come. Whether it stops here or goes higher, I don't know. All I know is, the strong possibility is the odds are very much in favor of a new all-time high for the S&P 500, and the Dow and Nasdaq and so on would also follow suit. So that's very, very positive. Gold, again, we fully expected. We've said that this is basically just, we've got 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and we may have 5 waves down to complete an ABC. That would be 3, 3, 5 is what's called a flat correction. It is a correction again, so we would expect new all-time highs to come, as I've got it labeled here. New all-time highs. Once this correction down is complete, to complete the C wave, we would then expect to push to new all-time highs for gold. So gold is a really good asset to hold as part of a diversified portfolio, because it's not correlated with a lot of with stocks, etc. So it's important to hold as many uncorrelated assets as possible within your portfolio, and you determine the percentages based on your basically your risk tolerance. But gold should form, I believe, a part of any well-diversified portfolio for medium long-term portfolio. So again, it's behaving exactly as we expected. So we've got a movement here. This choppiness is a bit of a correction. It's a continuation pattern, and the continuation of this move down is what I'm expecting. So at some point, we do expect some short-term movement down on gold, but again, at some point, without it moving much lower, we'd expect a reversal towards the upside. I'm just seeing time again running away because I know you've got other things to show, so I'll just flip through very, very quickly. Solana is looking it's looking as though we'll get it's going to turn bullish at some point. We may get a bit more downside. Let's just look through quickly at the memes. So I say memes. Jasmy isn't a meme. It's a great performing token. It's been picked out, particularly on my X. I did a feature on Jasmy. It's looking really positive, and there's been some tremendous gains there. And one of my followers has been highlighting it a lot as well. He's done very, very well. Book of memes down a little bit today. So the market in general is down slightly, but it's relatively flat. So just flipping back to finalize, really. Bitcoin is still very much in this consolidation phase around here, and I'm still expecting new all-time highs to come. So I think most of crypto will probably follow suit. It's pretty well flat. You can see all this consolidation, sideways consolidation. Even if we touch a little bit lower, there's much higher to come, I think, with all of these assets. So overall, positive outlook for the market. And that's it for today.
How's Toncoin looking?
Oh, okay. TON is actually, it's been bouncing back quite nicely. So again, we appear to have had an ABC correction down, and it's a little bit like Bitcoin in terms of the structure. So we have potentially actually it isn't, because this actually illustrates the difference. So this cannot be wave 1 now. I've got it labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in red, but giving a bigger wave 1 in blue. Now it can't be wave 1 and 2, because the next movement up, this movement down overlaps this wave 1. So now I know that this is basically 3 waves down, and it's also a corrective movement to the upside. So it's not impulsive to the upside as yet. So TON is still in a mixed situation, and it's not one that I'd look to jump in long at the moment. I'm expecting we'll probably see solid resistance around the previous high here, which was 7.6. So even if it moves up a bit, we'll see some solid resistance there, because This is still corrected down, telling me, and this isn't corrected, this isn't impulsive up because it's overlapping. So when it's overlapping, it tells me we're still corrective. So I still think that we'll get some more downside before we then push to new all-time highs. Well, when I say all-time, to new local highs on Toncoin.
I'm having a conversation with one of the tokens that is built on Ton, and I think they'll be on the show either this week or next. So that's I was like, well, Ton is actually one of the ones we've been looking at.
Yeah, I mean, Ton is amazing because, as I say, it actually has the world record for the fastest transaction speed of any token, over 100,000 transactions per second, I think, and that's been properly measured. And it's also secure. It's also got amazing community. I mean, as I've always said, the only downside for me is the massive supply. I think it's a big supply. I can't remember offhand what it is. It's a massive supply anyway. That's the only potential downside. But got a great market cap, well supported. With that community coming from Telegram, I actually think the future is bright for Ton.
Yeah. Well, seeing people build on it and everything else is interesting. So we'll see if
a lot of these new tokens like Ton, even like Solana, people building on these, and there's other new ones coming out that we'll be mentioning in the future. They're kind of maybe displacing some of the older tokens, perhaps. Like maybe
look at Base, right? Base kind of doing the same thing, and these tokens coming up on Base.
Yeah, so displacing some of the old tokens, and this is where the capital is flowing into the newer tokens. This is why when you look at the market caps, you see the likes of Ton really rising up the ranks very rapidly. And Solana, I mean, look at it now, right up there. It's vying with Ethereum, and there's, they're now taking over in terms of numbers now of people building on Solana. It's phenomenal. So Solana is now the retail chain of choice. So we've been labeled retail chain of choice. And as you may know, eBay are migrating to Solana because it's ultra fast, it's very secure, it's very, very cheap. And this is what you're looking for. There have been issues for such a long time, still issues, despite the changes to proof of stake, still issues on the cost of Ethereum. And Solana is so much cheaper. So when you've got high throughput, these costs become an issue. And so you'll look for other chains that are lower cost, higher transaction speeds, etc. So the whole space is migrating, it's evolving, it's getting better and better, and that's why it's so exciting. There's always new opportunities coming up.
Always. Well, fantastic, Matt. Another great report. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Great opportunity to love speaking about things and showing hopefully a bit of my enthusiasm about what's happening, and we'll focus on some. I mean, we go through the main coins. I think we'll focus on some of the up and coming opportunities that maybe give people a chance to make a bit of money out of the space. So amazing. Yeah, thanks for having me, and look forward to catching up tomorrow.
Sounds good. We will see you soon.
All the best. Thank you.
Cheers. So, of course, we had a few great interviews during the Consensus show, and one of them was Alex Zeltzer. He's the CEO of Insure.ai. I'll pull us both off the screen here and play this interview. And we are back here at Consensus 2024. Super excited about the event. We have a lot going on, a lot of great people here. Speaking of great people, I have with me Alex Zeltzer. He's with Insure.ai. I did get a chance to look over the site, a little bit of what you guys are doing. Pretty exciting. Tell me a little bit about the company and what brought you here to Consensus.
Sure. So Insure.ai is a payment fraud prevention solution. Basically, we help onboard the masses. So one of the main challenges I think that the crypto market has in general, or the community has in general, is how difficult it is to onboard people. And one of the main problems that could be related to compliance, but mainly it's because of the friction that is added because of the fear of fraud. Yeah, we have a lot of issues today with fraud. There's also bad reputation. But when that combined with the friction that you see when you onboard people simply don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And the main thing that we help the community do is onboard people with less friction.
Yeah.
And the way you should ask, how do we do that?
Well, that was my next question. So how do you do that? So see, it's great when you have people that know how to lead the conversation.
Sorry about that.
No, that's great.
So in general, when you look at onboarding, the mass market, they'll onboard with a fiat payment instrument, right? They'll onboard with a bank account or a credit card or a PayPal or whatever payment instrument they have, and they'll transfer funds into a Bitcoin or an Ether, and then they'll become part of the community.
Yeah.
And that piece of on-ramping usually is exposed to lots of KYC requirements and all of that. And then eventually, and then eventually, it's also exposed to a lot of payment fraud. And what payment fraud is? Payment fraud is what happens when someone is utilizing your credit card information, your bank account information to steal goods online.
Yep.
And what happens is that in the crypto community, digital assets like crypto, if you think about that from a fraudster perspective, are extremely lucrative.
Yeah.
Because fraudsters that do this as a business, they buy a list of stolen financials on the dark net. Then they need to turn these stolen financials into more cash than what they paid.
Right.
That's their return on investment. And then to do that, they really need to buy things and resell them.
Okay.
Then imagine the difference between buying and reselling 1,000 Nike shoes and 2 Bitcoins. Right? You pay for the Bitcoin, you get it. It's yours. There's nothing anyone can do to take it back.
Right.
It's
one of the great things
then
about it.
Exactly. And then you can off-ramp it and make money. And for the fraudster, that makes a very significant incentive. And as a result of that, they develop tools that attack crypto exchanges or anyone that is offering a service that allows you to transfer fiat-based funds into crypto. And what we try and do is we help these on-ramps or the exchanges directly to filter out the good from the bad.
Yep.
And decline the transactions that are bad and make sure that the good consumers come in. And we do that completely frictionless. No requirement for any kind of KYC. It's except for the regulation requires.
Nice. So then, who is you're here at Consensus? Obviously, we all paid a lot of money to be here, one way or the other, right? What is your goal here? What makes this a successful event for you?
So we're here. First of all, we have a lot of prospects here, a lot of potential clients that are, anyone that is dealing with on-ramping into crypto is a potential client. We have a lot of big names that are already clients, and we're here to get more. Yeah. So that's number one. That's why we have a booth, and when we came in with a significant team. There's 6 of us here. That's one end of it.
Well-known people, as if I might say so.
Some of them, at least, some of them. And we have the other leg for us is really the partnerships that we can build here, because there's lots of data that we can gather from the blockchain side. There's a lot of information we're gathering on everything, any piece of data we can lay our hands on in order to provide better service eventually to our clients. So we have both sides of it here at the conference. And to be honest, the calendar is completely insane. Forget about even the side events. We have dozens and dozens of meetings set even before we came in. So it's going to be a very interesting conference.
I'll tell you, even the on my flight here, I had very important people. There was there's only a couple of direct flights from Washington, D.C., and so we had really important people all heading in here. You have the suits. I mean, Consensus always brought the suits. I remember going to Consensus years ago in New York, and I'm like, what am I doing here? What are these people doing here?
That's what you brought your jacket.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I brought my jacket. With a little bit of, well, that's really cool. So how long have you guys been in business?
So we've been in business for almost 5.5 years now.
Okay.
We've been doing a lot more than just crypto. We've been doing anything that's digital assets. So we've been doing digital gift cards or digital prepaid cards, digital prepaid Visa cards and MasterCards. When you sell these online, these attract fraudsters even more than crypto does.
Right?
Even more than crypto, because basically cash. We've been doing that for a while. We have a couple of clients that are the biggest names in this industry. We've been doing a lot of gaming, not gambling, but virtual swords, skins, etc. A lot of Web3 gaming as well. So we've been in the industry for a while, and they've been growing significantly on the crypto side. I would say probably the last 3 or 4 years.
So we are coming here out of the crypto winter. I mean, the consensus, of course, I do the Impact Money show every morning. So I've been saying that this feels a bit like a hollow, it feels, a hollow bull run so far. The people don't really have that much money yet, even though Bitcoin's over, it's like an ungodly amount of money, if you ask me, considering I was buying them so cheap, not that long ago, it seems like. But
I hope you were Portland.
In America, I always tell people, look, we always talk about Bitcoin. We never talk about your Bitcoin. Okay, that's always a very important thing. But how are you seeing? How are you seeing it? Are you seeing the money now flow back into the space?
Yeah. So I can tell you that in the last 6 months, we've had a few clients that we book the revenue for based on a certain amount. We charge based on the amount of GMV, based on the amount of volume that we approve.
Okay. Yeah.
So we book them at a certain level, and they've tripled that volume in the past 6 months.
Oh, that's great.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
of course. Amazing. Not everyone, but a big chunk of them. So we are seeing a lot more money being poured into crypto for sure.
Amazing.
For sure.
Amazing. Now, so you're here at Consensus. You have a booth. What booth number?
1153.
1154. So make sure if you're here and you see it, you go over 1154.
1153.
1153.
There we go. 1153.
Don't go to the neighbors. Okay.
No, maybe 1154 is better. I don't know.
So where are you going after this? What's your plan?
So we've so first of all, there are a few events that I'm really looking forward to. But I have a couple of client meetings at this point. I'm meeting with a couple of board members from a new client we just signed.
Okay.
So and we're meeting a lot of VCs while we're here.
Very good.
I feel like this is going to be a very interesting show from a VC perspective.
There's a lot of VCs here.
A lot of VCs.
Like they're all here. Yeah. I don't know if you guys, we have our gala tomorrow night. I don't know if you signed up for that, but there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money coming in.
Yes.
It is an impressive amount. We've done the gala all over the place. Well, thanks so much for coming on. What's the website, social media? How do people find you guys?
So the best way is Ensure.ai. That's directly on the web. You can go Ensure.ai on Twitter as well. Our Telegram.
Ensure AI. That's NSURE.ai. Alex, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
See you soon.
All right, well, there you go, Alex Zelzer, the CEO of Insure.ai, just one of the different companies that we were able to interview there at Consensus. Consensus is a fantastic event. It really was. It was organized really well. Everybody was there. And you heard us, the amount of money that was at that show was unbelievable. Just billions and billions of dollars. So we were able to put together a lot of that. We'll be working on a lot of that, putting together things. I can tell you the Smart Money Culture TV network, is growing a lot. We're able to make some really good connections there, and really excited about what we're doing. We're reaching millions of people right now on your TV there in Texas and Louisiana. Thanks so much for being there and being a part of it. It's really a lot of fun. And then of course streaming as well. Streaming is absolutely fantastic. It's a lot of fun. But I'll tell you, as far as the numbers go, when you want to sell things, when you want to actually move product, the numbers on TV are absolutely fantastic. $6 ROI for every dollar spent on TV is $6 of profit. That's the numbers on TV that you have on TV. So pretty interesting. Now, of course, we need it all, right? So we're here. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X. We're live on LinkedIn and all these other places that you want to be live on, of course. And thanks for Elon, for really opening up X as well. It has been a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what, that TV is really something else. So we have some exciting things coming up. Of course, we are going to be in New York City. I will be there in the flesh in New York City for Bitcoin Palooza. It's on Thursday evening, Bitcoin Palooza. You can go to Luma /Bitcoin Palooza, and you can join there. It is going to be a lot of fun. It's more of a live music and entertainment thing than I normally do. Normally I'll do a gala or this and that and the other. This is a little different as far as that is concerned, live music and everything like that. Okay. But it is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's on Thursday, this Thursday, coming up. So just a couple days from now in New York City. And of course, we're getting things together for the big event during the UN General Assembly. We'll have the Washington Elite Gala during the UN General Assembly. We're going to have some other things going on there as well. So New York, big focus on New York as we move things forward. And then as well, I just put down Trump is in Detroit, the Donald in Detroit at the Turning Point Conference, the People's Convention. And that's June 14 through 16. So this week we're in New York City. And then the following week, I always book things at the last minute. So I just have to, then the following weekend, we are in Detroit, Michigan. And Trump will be speaking. Every time Trump speaks, it's like huge, right? Huge. It's huge. So Trump will be speaking at the People's Conference. You can use code Bruce. You can use code Impact Money in order to get yourself a 25% discount. 25% discount on tickets. We're really proud of it. We put that together for you guys, for our audience here, and just to really quickly show you some more of the people that are going to be there. This conference, he's really stacked them up. Now, this is, of course, Charlie Kirk is the guy behind this. Charlie and I, we've been at it. Of course, he's grown a lot. But Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, Vivek will be there. You got Ben Carson, Steve Bannon, Don Dooner. You have Tulsi Gabbard, Kristi Noem, Candace Owens. Candace Owens is speaking. Laura Trump, Senator Rick Scott, Jack Prosbiak. You got Roger Stone. Roger is a very historical figure in the United States. He has been through it. He was with Nixon in his administration. Benny Johnson, Bishop Aubrey Shines. We have Kimberly Guilfoyle, Lee Zeldin, Matt Gaetz. We have Brandon Tatum, Eli Crane, Eric Burleson, Carrie Lake, Tom Klingenstein, Scott Pressler. We have Nigel Farage, Mike Lindell, James Lindsay, Warren Davidson, Michael Cloud, and of course Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds, he's been one of those ones. Those names has been floated around for the VP choice. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all comes up. Now, these guys, many of these folks that you're seeing right here, they came to New York and they supported President Trump during this whole show trial. I think that it obviously is just crazy. We're in uncharted territory here, where a state judge can do something like this. I think that in general, well, I guess I'll keep that stuff to myself. But I do that a lot. I keep a lot of stuff to myself these days, guys. I didn't used to do that, but I just have to think, okay, what should I say and what shouldn't I say, right? That's how we have to live. So it is what it is. But a lot of those guys, they came to support Trump as he was in his in New York for this trial, and they'll be there. So that's the 14th through the 16th. Get your tickets today, 25% discount. Use the code Impact Money, and really looking forward to seeing you there. Now, I am in talks with a number of people as well. We'll have some more consensus interviews moving forward, some really good stuff that came out of there and that we're super excited about. So that is it for me. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. Thanks to Matt for joining, and we are happy to be on your TVs and streaming live. I am signing off.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.